Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima and I'm here checking out Burly Men at Sea. I know I usually start in the menus with these sorts of games, but notably this game doesn't have one. I mean, it does have a options menu here, and this is literally all you get in it, so no real point going on too much about that, but yeah. So, here we are. This is well, the best way to describe this would be a choose-your-own-adventure game, which is a little odd. Choose-your-own-adventure is a sort of style of book where you'd read it and you would select from one of two choices from time to time, and then that would take you down to a potentially different ending. And this game has pretty much exactly the same structure. You go hop onto your boat here, you go out on an adventure, you choose what to do at every particular point, and then you come back and do it all again, more or less. That's pretty much the entire point of the exercise. It kind of plays itself like it's going to be a point-and-click adventure game, but it's not really. The only reason you need the point-and-click controls is to interact with the game itself, and there's not even that much reason to do that. So it really is just a fancily presented choose-your-own-adventure game. But anyway, we're going to head off on our adventure. This been playing this for about an hour, and I've played through the game 3 times already. So it's not very long. We'll probably get an entire playthrough in this one video here. So, here we are in our first little derivation. I don't even know what the fuck I tried to say there. But yeah, this is basically how the game works. You're put into an area, you can control the camera using either the L and R buttons or the right stick. This also controls your movement. You will always stay inside the frame with your 3 bearded men, who, by the way, those beards look like ball sacks. Those do not look like beards. Those are ball sacks. But anyway, you can wander around here to do any one of any particular set of things, but there's only 2 real choices you can make. And that's whether or not to wait for the boat to go out, or go and, brain, work with me here, or go into the whale's blowhole and blow yourself out. But nevertheless, so yeah, there is some dialogue here and there, and it's relatively entertaining. You've got your 3 different bearded men here, although it's really hard to tell the difference between them, because it's not that obvious who's talking at the time. And there is some neat dialogue with the other denizens of the world as well, like the water nymphs here that live inside the whale. So yeah, okay, apparently we can't actually wait this out as the barrel dude. So we will go and escape how I did in my last game. So through we go, guys. Oh yeah, I remember, you have to wait for this one to load. So this is really it though. It is a really surprisingly basic game, even for something that I described as the fancier version of a choose-your-own-adventure book. The controls themselves work okay, but sometimes you end up in these weird positions where you have to, hey, I'm tapping on the thing, there we go. Sometimes you end up in these weird positions where you just have to hold the R button and just wait for it to get all the way through, and then, yeah, then you get to read some text, and then you just get to do it all over again. The game is very simple. Like, for example, here. All I have to do here is hold the R button, and that's pretty much it. The game does split at times, as you've seen, and each of those splits can take you down a different route, and those different routes are pretty different. There are also some events that change depending on if you've seen them before, and I have seen this before, but unfortunately, if I go like any route, I've already seen the events, because as I said before, this game ends very quickly. I've been playing it for an hour, and this is my 4th game. So there you go. The game's presentation is quite nice. I do quite like the look of the minimalistic art style. It looks rather good and has a fair bit of character to it, which I'll give it credit for. There are also some neat little music tracks that play in the background. It's kind of neat. The sound effects are a bit odd though, mainly because some of the sound effects sound like they've been made with someone with their mouths, which is very surprising. But anyway, we're here talking to who's apparently the Grim Reaper. And we've been offered a race. However, I can actually choose whether or not to win this one, which is I think I can choose whether or not to win this one. Because the way the game's trophies work is that they give you a bunch of trophies. And it seems that every time you go down a different fork, you get a trophy for it. And there is a blank spot for the second result of this race. Or at least I hope there is anyway. Because if I'm just going through the same pattern of story that I did previously, it'll be quite a boring event for me. But anyway, it appears that I am either... Am I capable... Oh, no, hang on. Yeah, there we go. I have to tap and hold him to make him fall behind the good old Grim Reaper. That makes sense. So yeah, the Grim Reaper won the race. There are some different events that happen, like a giant tentacled monster that you have to fight off. There's a little thing you can find, which is basically a music shed that sinks into the sea if you bother the guy too much. Still, it's a bit odd and out there. Which is kind of neat. The unfortunate thing is that the game doesn't really have that much to do in it. I mean, as I said, an hour, I've got 50% of the trophies. So it's surprisingly small. And while all the individual encounters are, well, by themselves are actually alright, the encounters themselves are actually alright. The just overall quality of each story just feels oddly disconnected. And it feels just rather, what's the word? Rather random. And yes, you do come back around to... Oh dear. You do have the ability to come back around and... Oh, what's all this about? You do have the ability to come back around and play the story again, but other than the events that seem to slightly change, I don't really see any particular point in... There doesn't seem to be anything in the way of, what's the word? Overarching story other than just go and explore stuff. Which is... It's okay, I guess. I mean, when I play a game like this, it really does seem like that you need some kind of overarching story or mystery to it. Because they do keep somehow managing to get their boat back and somehow managing to set out on new adventures, which is something. But it just doesn't feel like there's anything to really compel me to keep going other than just a couple of weird little encounters here and there. Which is disappointing, really. There is something else, but considering that I'm probably very close to the end of the game at this point... But we'll get to that. It's a little odd, actually, this new little thing they've got going. But we will, as I said, we'll get to see that shortly. Oh, no, down we go, apparently. Yeah, this is actually going to take a minute, so I will return very shortly. Oh look, it's this little cutscene again. These little... Well, this little scene here, where you run into this little thing, I don't even know what it is, signifies the end of the adventure. So yeah, that was an entire run of this game. It was like 12 minutes and 2 or 3 decisions to make. And that's pretty much every other route in the game. So, you'll be able to see the 3 runs I did previously in a moment. So yep, it slips away into darkness, and here we go, waiting for the... Here we go, waiting for it to circle back around again. I can't do any... Oh, well, no, I can't do anything in this cutscene, can I? I remember. No, nope, I just have to sit here and wait for it to... Wait for them to get back up onto the island. It's kind of slow, actually. It's alright when you see it the first time, but... Every time after that is just a little bit too long. So now we've come back to this island, we can head back off to the left again when the game decides it wants to give me control. And back we go. You know, I think I just figured out what that little statue is. At least I think I have. I think that's the decision tree. Which is actually kind of a neat way to present it. There weren't as many birds there before, that's kind of what tipped me off. But still, that is a kind of neat little thing. And there's a moose. No sisters around for it to bite, but there it is. And we have a house. If we tap on the house and go into it, we come to here, and we see this old man, who we have been introduced to multiple times throughout this game. You show him the map, which is the map of the... Which is basically like the map that started off this whole journey. And here's all the runs that I've done so far. 31304, 24080, 19264, and 14448. I think I put one too many 4s in that last one, but nevertheless. We automatically get sent out the door. And we're back on the island. Yep, that's it. That is one entire run of this game. So if we head back in to the old man's hut, he's there, but the bookcase is there too. So if we were to tap on the bookcase, we can actually see our stories here again, but it also points out that little web address. You know what that web address does? I went to it. When you go to it and put in that number, they offer to sell you a 50-page hardback book of the mystery that you have just played. At least I imagine that's what it is. And that is a bit odd, I must admit, because everything that just happened in the last, like, less than 15 minutes of this video definitely wasn't content rich enough for a 50-page book. That just really seems weird to me. And also, the book costs about 30 bucks US, which is kind of ridiculous. Especially considering that you've paid 10 bucks to play this game in the first place. At least that's what the price is on Steam. I don't know if it's going to be different on PS4 or Vita, but there you go. Game's technical performance is fine. I haven't noticed anything particularly wrong with it. It's a Unity game that runs well, which kind of makes it weird, but yeah, the individual encounters are neat, and I like the idea of the whole choose your own adventure thing, because I used to be a fan of the books back in the day. Did you know you used to be able to buy, like, all 200 of them from the people who originally made them? But unfortunately, I don't think any copies of... They don't sell them anymore, which sucks. I would have bought them if I had, like, $2 grand spare, but... Yeah, it's an interesting idea, and it's got some kind of neat encounters, but that's pretty much all it's got going for it. It's really short on every run, and it's really, it doesn't seem to really have a huge chain to anything. Everything just seems a bit random and just put in there because, you know, LOL's so random. Although, if trophy haulers like their trophies, this is actually a very easy way to get trophies, because here's the trophies. I have 55% of the trophies in an hour. It will be a very easy platinum trophy to get, because you basically don't need anything in the lines of reflexes or anything, and you could probably have it done in like 2 hours. So there you go. That was a quick look at Burly Men at Sea. I wouldn't recommend it personally until it gets to disposable game price, like 99 cents or $2. If you do go in not expecting massive amounts of things, just go in expecting a nice quiet adventure. They do call it a quiet adventure, but you know, just don't go in expecting anything particularly grand. I wasn't expecting anything particularly grand, and even I was disappointed. So, you know, that's a bit of a warning to you. This has been Blue Maxima, and I will see you all next time.